All right, Casey, what you got, man?
Well, I just brought on a drone. I own a seed company.
What kind of seeds you sell?
So agriculture seed, pretty much everything.
Anything?
Alfalfa, all the way to native grasses, wildflowers. We're kind of different. We create custom grass mixes is kind of our name to fame, I guess.
For hay, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So hay, alfalfa is kind of, it's still being used, right? Everybody still loves alfalfa.
We use it.
Yeah. But cattle can really only digest so much of that alfalfa, where they can actually digest way more grass. So we implement more like custom grasses, do a custom seed mix tailored to the rancher, the farmer's soil. And we use a lot of grass. So when we would sell that grass mix, they'd be like, well, how am I going to apply this? Put it in my grain drill. And I would tell them no, because grass is so much smaller.
Right, tiny seeds, yeah.
You don't want to get it any deeper than a 1/4 inch. They're so small they can't break the crust. And so I brought on a drone. I seen a YouTube video and it really sparked my interest because being out of Utah, I've never seen one. I've been in agriculture my whole life, never seen a drone till this YouTube video. So I looked into it and man, it's awesome. It's like 8 feet wide. It'll carry 150 pounds. So I dove into it, bought it. I have 0 customers lined up to use it when I bought it, and now here we are.
You have people using it now, though?
Yeah, so I have customers on the docket. I haven't, it's been snowing like crazy.
Right.
And so, yeah, but yes, we do. February is already booked. I got it right before Christmas. I made one Facebook post and it's kind of gone nuts, but.
Are you in like Salt Lake area or are you in the country somewhere?
I'm in the country.
Okay.
I'm in a little tiny town called Loa. There's 1,500 people in the whole county. But I travel with my seed. You know, I service Nevada, Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado.
Is grass growing in Nevada?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you know, Nevada's funny. It's
I know they have cows up there for BLM and stuff, but
yeah, and so that's with the drone too. You know, a lot of BLM projects could benefit from a drone.
Yeah, what was that old guy's name? Bundy, right?
Yeah,
up there, they fought the BLM and won, and they end up fucking that whole family up after they won.
Yeah.
It's a rough gig beating the government.
Yeah.
So how much, so 150 pounds, what kind of acreage does that cover?
So basically, it all depends on the application.
Okay.
You know, because some seeds you plant at 10 pounds to the acre, some seeds you only plant at 2 pounds to the acre, but sometimes it'll hold 150 pounds, but sometimes seed's fluffy and you can't get 150 pounds in that tank. So generally, you can get between 30 and 50 acres to the hour.
Okay.
So
to the hour?
Yep.
Okay, so it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's faster than a tractor, I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
You know? And you said it's cheaper than a tractor too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, so I think I'm going to charge between $12 and $15 an acre.
Okay.
But for that drone to fly, I have like all my testing I had to pay for the drone. But once all that's done, essentially, you're flying on battery, you know. So.
And okay, so how long does the battery last? About an hour?
No, so the battery will last around 30 minutes, but I've got 5 batteries.
Okay.
They're ran off a generator, so you do have the cost of the generator, but it's a air-cooled battery station. So it can go out, fly a mission is what they call it, fly a mission, come back, fill it back up, swap the battery, and that battery will be charged by the time.
You have to physically fly it, or it can be done on autopilot?
You can, yeah, it's all automized, yeah.
So yeah, you can just set up a boundary and it goes through and does whatever. Is it like a seed spreader, like you know how to sifting thing? Okay, on the drone.
But it'll do a swath of 32 feet.
Okay.
So it's, I mean, even a tractor has a hard time spreading 32 feet.
Yeah, you have to have a big ass John Deere with 8 wheels on it typically to do something that big. So shit, I know we pull a 10-foot rake behind ours and it's a pain in the ass. So I can imagine 32 feet. So is that common practice up there in Utah?
As far as I know, I'm the first one to have it in Utah.
Do you know a lot of farmers up there?
A ton, yeah.
So you're already selling seeds to these guys, right? So
Yep.
now you want to sell them the seed and then the application of the seed too, right?
Correct.
What is your struggle with the farmers? They don't believe you. They don't think it works well. You don't have proof of concept. What do you think the struggle is?
I think the biggest thing in the far west, like Utah, everybody's still stuck in the way of farming like Grandpa did, and that goes beyond aerial applicating. No tilling is the way of the future, right?
Right.
And the drone is no till.
Right.
In fact, you're not even compacting the soil at this point. No till drills have been popular, I would say, the last 3 to 5 years, but you're still driving a tractor, you're still compacting the ground.
Right.
So this just takes it one step further, but still, like even cover crops, as huge as cover crops are in the Midwest, they're just barely trickling in to the West now. People are still just stuck in that mindset of, hey, this is the way Grandpa did it, this is the way we're gonna do it, and that the way of Grandpa is the past. Because,
what about like green initiative grants? You ever look into any of that stuff since you're actually helping there?
I haven't. I kind of see like Carbon Alliance stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Here's
here's what I would think. If you could go to these farmers and you could say, this is going to cost you $50,000 for me to do your 1,000 acres or whatever that, that number is. But if you go so this is how they sell solar. Then if they go and they say it's $30,000 for solar panels, but immediately you're going to get $22,000 of that back in tax credits immediately, right? Mm-hmm. I bet if you looked up the greenhouse, because there's a big green initiative with our government right now. We got the greenest dude ever in office,
Right.
And so I bet you could prove, because this is the case, and you may have to elicit a grant writer or something like that, or somebody smarter than you in that stuff. But I bet there's a segment of that new Green Deal that they put into place that is, that anything that reduces the CO2 carbon footprint, right, which you're doing, there is going to be some sort of reward for that. So if you could go to these farmers and you could say, listen, you have 1,000 acres, it's $12 an acre, so we're talking $12,000 to do this. However, once you do that, you can go file for these green initiative tax credits back, and you're going to be able to get $8,000 of that back. Now I'm just using random numbers here, but I know that's how it works in solar, and I would almost I would be willing to bet that there is some way that you could go and dig into that stuff, whether it's with an attorney or whether it's with the EPA or whatever, because I highly doubt you're going to be able to pull up the law book and figure it out yourself. You know what I mean? I don't think I would be able to either, but you could talk to somebody who works in that green initiative, your local senator, maybe.
Yeah.
Everybody's always the greener they are, the more likely they are to get elected. You know what I mean? Especially with you being out west, maybe you go talk to a California senator, not a federal senator, but a state senator, and show it to where they can become a hero and they can use these tax credits that already exist to be able to reduce the carbon footprint out there. I bet that's one way to make money, because you're going to get your 12 grand. It's up to them to file those tax paperworks, right? But you need to figure out, like in the business world, you get Section 179, right? You go buy a new truck, then you can write it off if it's over a certain weight, right? So I'm sure that you could go out there and show them, hey, section this of the tax code is this green initiative. So when we go out here, it says here this green initiative will give you 60% of your stuff back. So really you're only paying $4 an acre, bro. That's less than a gallon of gas that you're putting out on this thing, and we're getting it done in half the time as well.
Right.
The second thing is, as you scale this thing, so first I would look into tax credits, green initiative tax credits. The second thing is, you scale this thing, is finding you other drone operators, right? And how I would do that is because you only got, how long does it take you to do? You said how many acres in an hour?
Between 30 and 50, depending on the application.
Okay, so if someone's got 1,000 acres, you're going to be out there for two months, right? I don't know how long it is, but it's going to be a long time.
Right.
But if you found other contractors that you could go, and let's say you get the first one done, and let's say that you make, how much does a drone cost?
All in, with all the stuff, I'm about $65,000.
Okay, so they're expensive as shit. Okay, so let's say you go out there and you do, that would be 12,000, 24. So you have to be probably 6,000 or so acres that you could get done, right?
Yep.
Once you get that done, then you could go and I would get another drone operator, but I wouldn't let them buy the drone. I'd buy another drone for them. We can do the equipment loan over at Closer Capital. That's what we do once you get through the second one, once you get through the first one. And then I would lease them. Let's say that we do the loan at I don't know, 12%, let's just say $65,000. You're leasing it to them at 24%. Okay, but then you're supplying them with the contract so that now they come out and you get 1,000 acres. They're out there and both of you out there doing 64 feet per spread out there, so where you can get it done in half the time and repeat that process to where literally we know a farmer, like my buddies that farm, that have 30,000 acres or so up in Missouri, they're on that bitch for 3 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you could literally have and they're spending the same amount of money what you're talking about anyway, right. And they own $1 million tractors and multiple $1 million tractors and multiple, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of whatever they got a pool behind them to be able to plant the seeds and stuff like that. And so you're actually saving them money, giving them green tax credits. Then you're hiring other contractors to go out there, and you might be able to knock 1,000 acres out in a day with 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And then you're leasing it to them and then you're selling the seed to them too. So you're making a margin on the drone that you're leasing, and you own it. So if they quit or something happens, then you get the drone back, right? Because you're just leasing it to them, and then you're selling the farmer the seed. And then so now you've got these guys going out there and operating the stuff, man, taking their tests and all that. That would be my game plan, is how can I get multiple drone operators? And they already exist. There's lots of guys that do it for fun.
Right.
That if they could get paid for it, they'd be great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And finding those guys through, I bet you if you go on Facebook, you can go in, Utah drone operators or drone and just type in drone, and there's going to be a Facebook group for that shit.
Yeah.
If not, you need to make one. Okay. Right? Because then once you got one, people are going on there looking for a group of drone operators. But I would guess there's a drone operator group on there. Yeah. You just go in there and make a post. Hey, anybody looking to get paid to operate drones? We do farming, and this is what we got. And, then all of a sudden they're coming in, and they may not have a $65,000 drone like you do, but if they already have the license and know how to fly them,
right.
Then you're saying, hey, I'll lease this to you. It pays, if you're getting $12 an acre for seed, and then let's say you're doing it for $15 an acre, you're like, hey, I'll lease this to you. It pays $3 an acre, right? Mm-hmm. Or you charge them a margin on it, plus I'll lease the drone at a 10% margin that you're doing. So now you're getting the job done, you're getting paid for, you're selling more seed to the farmer. They're happy, they're telling all your friends about you. The problem is, you're right, you're saying, well, this is how my grandpa did it. Let's go, well, wouldn't you admit that your grandpa also rode a tractor that didn't have suspension or air conditioning in it? But your tractor has air conditioning, so times are advancing.
Right.
Right? And guess what? Now, you don't even have to be like because the younger generation, they're probably set in their ways with how things work, but the truth of the matter is, they don't want to work hard. They don't want to work as hard as their grandpa, as much as they say they do, because they're trying to impress their family and win over all this, that they don't. You know what I mean? The younger generation, every generation gets a little bit lazier. So you're like, dude, look, I can do this shit cheaper than you can do it, and half the time you can do it, and you ain't got to get off of the Xbox, bro.
Yeah.
That's your pitch. It's like, forget how your grandpa did it. He did it in the cold with a jacket on and no AC and no suspension or Bluetooth radio in the tractor. So things are evolving. Now you can go sell your tractors. You don't need these damn things anymore. They're an overhead. You sell them. You make your money from the tractor. I'll come out here every year and spread this stuff for you. And all you got to do is cash checks and bale hay.
Yep.
Or maybe they don't sell the tractor. They sell the drill behind it, because they're still going to need the combine, right, or the hay baler, right? And so, but you sell the drill, and hay's only going up in price. So it's like, hey, now you're saving money. Hay's going up in price, dude. I'm your best friend, and I'm gonna be able to. And if you can figure it out, and I'm gonna be able to give you these tax credits. You'd be a fool to say no to me. You don't like feeding your family.
Yeah.
Then once you get that down, like, as soon as I leave here, if I'm you, I'm figuring out somebody that can help me with these tax credits. I would ask around tomorrow. There might be somebody like Byron or whatever that can look into that shit for you that's smart. There might be somebody that Keith knows that can look into that stuff that's smart. There's a connection most likely in that room. There's a guy named Royal Mortier who was actually on episode number 1. And Royal's a structural engineer, super smart guy. He might know somebody that knows how to work tax credit. There's a guy sitting on the front row named Mike. And Mike Bauer, he might know. He's in the solar business. So you might actually, he probably knows the actual tax code. And you go look that shit up and say, hey, this applies to me too. Simply write a letter to the IRS and say, hey, would this apply to it? And it might take you a little bit to get a reply to it, but you know, or tell the farmer, hey, you just fill out the form for this tax code. This fits this criteria. Now all of a sudden you get 80% of the money you spend back with me. You pay me today, 6 weeks later when you go get a return from your tax return because you're doing the deal in February. Taxes are due in April. Now it just saves you money, saves you time, and made your life a hell of a lot more convenient with a better quality seed and hay that you wouldn't have normally been able to handle anyway. Because like you said, the drill press goes into the ground too far, or the tractor compresses the ground to where the seeds don't get to go in there because the tractor's moving in front of it. Obviously, you know this is for the audience, but the tractor's moving in front of it. Tractors are heavy as fuck, man, pushing all that weight down. You're dropping seed on top of it. It may not be able to penetrate the dirt good enough with the seed to be able to get in there. And so I see what you're really doing as a win-win situation. And then once you got, let's say you got it in your local market, then you can start hitting up the other, in that Facebook group, whether you create it or you find it, you start finding somebody in Kansas, Oklahoma, you know, Arizona. Arizona's probably a bad example, but Kansas, Oklahoma, Nevada, like you said, California. It's like, hey, we can do this stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
I would look up state tax code for green initiatives and federal tax codes for green initiatives because, you know, here in Texas, we don't pay state taxes, so there's no Texas IRS, but there is the California, you know, and again, I promise you in California, there's all sorts of green initiatives, and you may just roll the fuck out there. You know what I mean?
I don't know. When I bought this drone, I was thinking pretty small, you know, like, okay, I can service my customer base and grow my customer base, like right here in Utah.
Yep.
But I mean, every time I turn around, every idea I have, I can actually use that drone. I mean, there's biostimulants. I've already been hit up, right? Like these biostimulants companies have hit me up. The state of Utah invited me to a trade show. They want to contract with me spraying noxious weeds in counties. One of the counties in northern Utah called me. They killed 2 guys on a side-by-side last year trying to spray a weed in shitty country.
Yeah.
They called me and they said, can you spray this? And I said, absolutely, man. And so already,
do you have contacts there?
Just by me, what's that?
Do you have contacts at the state?
Not really.
But I mean, the people that hired you, right? Maybe they know somebody. You know what I mean? They might know somebody who can look up and see what the green initiatives for the state is and the feds. You know what I mean?
And that's like the NRCS. You know, that's a conservancy resource. The state of Utah, maybe they can help me out. But just that drone alone, just one drone, I've already worked myself out of a job. Like, I got to get more drones coming already. And then talking to you, like, you know, you go after these credits. I mean, who's not going to want to use a drone?
Who's going to say no?
Yeah.
You know, we'll give you free grass.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to do this every year? Is that what it is, or twice a year?
Typically, like, it depends on the grass, right? Okay. You got perennials and you got annuals. Kind of like alfalfa.
Right.
It'll last for X amount of years.
Right.
If you do the right practices. If you're using annual grasses, then it's an every year type thing. But
what do you mostly sell there in Utah?
It's a good mix.
A good mix.
A lot of people forever and ever, you probably know, like the wheat and grain market. You know, it's now becoming that you can get an annual grass hay. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Back in the day, that's just what Grandpa did. Yeah. Wheat, barley, you know, that was the cash crop. Yep. Now, annual grass hay can yield almost as much as that grain. It's almost less expensive to plant annual grass than that annual grain, and you get far better return because it's grass.
Yeah, so, the grass we have growing on our ranch grows a hell of a lot thicker than the wheat we plant.
Yeah.
You know? We plant mostly the wheat for the deer and stuff to be attracted up there to hunt them. You know what I mean? But the grass that's on the other side is a hell of a lot thicker than what we've got over there on the wheat, because the wheat, we're pulling it behind a tractor planting it. You know what I'm saying? Versus grass, you just scatter the shit and it grows like it does in your yard. So, yeah, step one, Casey, is definitely get on that tax stuff, man. Because if you can show them where it's damn near free, where they save 80% of the cost, like sell your fucking tractors, you know what I mean? Sell your drill press, that's it, you know what I mean? And so that'll be huge. And then I would be looking at, and obviously we're going to be working together for the next year at least, but I would be looking into Facebook groups to get right now. Like, let's say that you don't have the 65 grand to buy another one, or you don't want to invest too heavily into that because that is a big nut. But right now you can start contacting these other guys and getting used to them, and you'll be able to start maybe setting appointments for other farmers in that area. So now you got a guy, you got a farmer, come to me, get you a loan, you lease it to that person. Now they're out there off to the races with the same thing, and you know, they're loving life because they get to do what they were doing for fun, for now get paid. Farmers are saving money, saving the planet because you're not tilling up CO2 emissions, or you're not compressing the ground there to where half the shit that you plant dies. Man, I don't see a downside to what you're doing.
Right.
So, all right, you gonna do it though?
Yeah.
I believe you're an action taker.
Yeah.
I believe you're an action taker. You came here on a whim from a week, so I don't see you not being an action taker.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And I'd like to help you. You know what I mean? Like, run shit by me. So, you know, you got the ability to contact me on Facebook, you know, and let me know, hey, what do you think about this group, or what do you think about this tax thing? But I would talk to Mike Bauer tomorrow. He's the dude sitting on the front row with the beautiful beard. Okay. Talk to him about the solar business, and if he doesn't know, then there's another guy here, Brandon Morales, that he's not here today, but he's here in Dallas. He's an executive, but he is he's way tied in as an installer into the solar business and understands how virtual power networks work, virtual power plants rather. And so I guarantee you, he knows a lot about the tax code when it comes to, because that's how they sell solar. They're like, hey, you buy it today and then you get, you know, X amount of dollars in tax back. So it's really not as expensive as the shit that I'm selling you today. You have the same fucking sales pitch right there. And I guarantee, I mean, I just feel it that it fits inside of that. It's obviously a green initiative, but I guarantee it's almost in the same ballpark of how that works. But at least that'll get you into the right tax code session of how that works. Because they give you paperwork to fill out so you get the tax credits, right? You can also talk to a CPA. You file your taxes, talk to your CPA and have them look into it. You know what I mean? You're already paying and have the relationship with them too, but I see that as the big win. Hey, we can do it fast, we can do it, and you get tax credits back to it. Fuck grandpa, they're not stupid, they're business people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I would say that next time they get stuck, and it's like, yeah, but grandpa didn't have an air conditioner or Bluetooth in his John Deere either. So clearly you're going to do it a little bit different than grandfather. This is the next generation.
Right.
You know, great grandfather had a mule and a fucking plow behind him.
Right.
And then you got a tractor. This is the next evolution, is we don't need these big ass pollutant tractors anymore. This is the Green Deal. So I dig it, man. All right, thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Great talking to you.
Yep.